Hello, and welcome to Songs for the Struggling Artist, the blogcast. This is episode 214, and I am recording this a few days in advance from when it is going to go up. I don't know when the last time I've done that is, if I've ever done it at all, but I am changing location again. And I don't know what the Wi-Fi situation is going to be like where I'm going. And given the sort of world of uncertainty that I temporarily lived in when the power went out for a week, where I currently am, I thought maybe it's a good idea to be prepared. So that's what's happening. So if something amazingly big has happened between now, which is Saturday, and Monday, I don't know about it because I'm not in the future with you. Yeah, I don't know what that thing would be, but this world is so unpredictable right now. Who can say? Who can say? So, today's episode was inspired by someone who asked me for some advice, and so I gave it to her. It took a long time to write that email, and then right after I sent it, I had second thoughts, and this post is a little bit about sort of those second thoughts. So here it is. It is called The Benefits of No One Caring About Your Work. When a friend of a friend asked me for some advice about starting a blog and Patreon, I told her the truth, that most writers struggle to find an audience and the internet is largely indifferent to our work. I realized after I hit send that this might not be the kind of advice a writer might want to hear. I mean, I know I expected that the internet would fall at my feet and deliver me instant recognition when I first began writing and posting music there. I think I imagined that there were people who spent their days just running their fishermen's nets through the internet's wide oceans looking for gems. This is what I thought, despite the fact that I never used the internet that way myself, nor did I know anyone else who did. But I suppose hope springs eternal? Anyway, there are no gem-finding internet fishing boats, and putting things up on the internet is largely like going outside in a thunderstorm and shouting your latest sonnet. It's not likely to be heard or even noticed. Very few people, besides the ones closest to you, are likely to care about a piece you put up on the internet. This might seem harsh, but there are benefits to no one giving any fucks about your work. I mean, let me pause for a second to say that a lot of people care about my work now. Not all of it, for sure, but I have been at this long enough that I am no longer operating in total anonymity on the internet in most places. I don't want to underplay my own success, but I do have a lot of things on the internet that in all likelihood, no one has ever seen. There are over 1,000 posts on my Hamlet blog that no one has ever clicked on, or at least that have never registered as viewed. They're mostly the tiny words, which are actually my favorite posts, but no one has a reason to click on them. So they remain as invisible as any other neglected post on the internet. And I have a following. That Hamlet blog has over 107,000 views altogether, but even so. But I was here to tell you why it's good when no one cares. It's good because you can really grow in peace. The pressure of publishing where a person might see it means that you're working on your writing or your art or whatever and growing it and developing it outside of what can be a bright spotlight. It is exciting when posts go a little viral. It is a roller coaster to watch stats and comments roll in, but it is also a distraction from writing. When no one cares what you write, you can develop and share your own voice without worrying so much about what people are saying about it. And in retrospect, I'm very glad that no one was reading the very first blogs I wrote here. They weren't that good yet. I think being out here all the time without too much pushback has led me to discover my own particular style and confidence in my voice. There are a lot of gems in my internet corner, and many of them have never been caught in anyone's net. This one, the Velvet Rope one, is still one of my favorites, and it never got the attention I felt it warranted. And there's this little bit on the Hamlet Project that only has 2 views. But somehow, even though not everything gets seen, the gems do sort of add up. And occasionally, one will get caught up in a random Google search and become accidentally popular. For example, I tossed off a piece called How to Congratulate an Artist a couple of years ago, and now it gets a handful of views every day. I could not possibly explain it to you. It's not because it's a great piece. It's not. It's just accidentally Googleable. And the more people click on it, the more people click on it. I guess Google is the internet fisherman. And all of the things do add up to a rather substantial body of work, which is maybe the biggest benefit. I have written a lot of things, and the evidence is right there on the internet. Some gems, some fish, some old boots, but a substantial body of work, regardless. Benefit number 1. So this is one that bloggers liked. Got a lot of likes from the WordPress folks, which is lovely. And also a few sort of supportive comments from my artist friends, not necessarily writers, but people who sort of have found a peace with obscurity, maybe. I don't know. And the person I wrote the email to originally actually was like, oh, this is super helpful. Thank you. She wasn't freaked out at all. She, I guess, hadn't had any delusions of grandeur ahead of time, which is good. I'm glad I wasn't the person to spoil those. Yeah, so good on both counts, on all the counts, on the having been helpful to a fellow starting up writer and writing a post that was comforting to some other artists. So that's why I do this, really, ultimately. So that's all very nice. So also, funny, like I put a bunch of links in this one to like stuff that nobody's ever read, because of course then I get to watch people read it, which is super fun. Yeah. So if you want to click through to any of the aforementioned posts, they are in the blog. So you can go there and click away. Boost the numbers from 0 to 3 or 6. I don't know. Woo! I go crazy. So today's song is one of these hidden gems. I don't know if it's a gem. It's just a song that hasn't gotten very little play, partly because I just haven't pushed it forward or put it out or anything. But it's been just sitting there on the internet for probably 10 years, maybe 11. It's up on Reverb Nation, and I just checked today to see how many, plays it's gotten over the years, and it's 13. So in a decade, you too could get 13 plays on a song you wrote and thought was the greatest thing ever when you wrote it. Yeah. So yeah, but it's a song, that I recorded before I had any kind of decent mics, so you will hear that sound quality. And it's also a song where I was messing around with GarageBand loops, which are weirdly not as good as they used to be. You can't find loops like this in GarageBand anymore. Yeah, so it's a GarageBand loop and MacBook mic song. But it's called Sonata, and I'm gonna put that here at the end in just a moment. So it'll get on top of the 13 plays it has on Reverb Nation. We're going to get the average 16 plays of the podcast. So this song is going to be popular. Woo! Yeah. So, if you like the podcast, tell someone about it, share it. And if you feel like contributing and helping me make it, also awesome. Patreon.com/Emily R. Davis. There is also Ko-fi and PayPal. And all those links are in the show notes. Would be honored and delighted to just, be followed and said hello to. Those are good too. It's nice to hear from folks who are listening. So thank you for all of that. Anyway, here's a song I made up 10 plus years ago, maybe 11, I don't know. It is called Sonata. The way you play those pauses in your solo, the way you let that top line circle round, the way that movement ended with crescendo. You know that's how I want to feel your sound. Maybe sometime you can play that tune legato and play the theme rubato for a while. Well, then shake it up with a quick surprise staccato. Coda to your sweet signature sound. Forte, mezzo, forte, free. Play the tune scherzandoli, bisbigliando leggermente, please. Piano, mezzo, piano here. Con effetto presto, dear. Vai a tempo as we're getting near. The way you just suspended that fermata, then modulated to a brand new key. I may not be a full complex sonata, but I feel like one whenever you play. Forte, mezzo, forte, free. Play the tune, scherzo